Guys, this is going to be a more informal video because I have a lot of things to talk about, and I've had questions from a number of you guys. For example, some people wanted to know about whether I've been contacted by any type of TV shows like Doomsday Preppers or whatever. I've received emails and calls from various organizations, whether it be local news or whatever, or such and such network or organization putting together such and such show, and I just haven't shown any real interest in it. Just recently today, somebody called me, local news station, and told them straight up I wasn't interested because I just don't see the point. Local news isn't the best place to be trying to spread a message about emergency preparation. First of all, I'm not a professional. I'm not going to try to present myself as an expert or whatever. I'm just a regular, just some guy. You guys, I'm just some guy trying to prep. I make mistakes. You guys pointed out, and I learn from it, and hopefully, guys, you learn something from me. You try to do something on local television. First of all, it's different from the internet in that when you go on YouTube, the only people who really see your videos are people who have a link to the issue, people who have some interest in the topic, prepping, for example. They may not agree with everything that you believe in, but there's some type of interest. The fact that they're looking at your video means that they at some point had enough of an interest to actually look at it. So you're dealing with an inherently different audience than a television show or the local news. Local news is just anybody who is around your area. And last thing I want is locals seeing me on TV talking about prepping, and then as soon as something goes wrong, the same people who are laughing at me for talking about storing up food, they recognize me, and now I have a problem if something really does go down. So that's definitely a concern. It's always been a concern, but you take a risk when you put yourself out there. So I'm willing to do that, and I appreciate other people who are also willing to do that, and other people who support us as we do this, while we do this, because if you guys weren't watching and telling other people about what we're doing, we wouldn't be able to do all this. So again, thank you. But it's interesting, people laugh at you on TV talking about prepping, because you're storing up extra food. Somebody have 2 or 3, 4 or 5 kids in the damn house. They laughing at some guy for talking about storing extra food, Meanwhile, most of their food is in the refrigerator. If the power goes out, most of their food will go bad just like that. And they only have about maybe 4 or 5 days worth of non-perishable foods in their home for them and all their damn kids, but they want to laugh at somebody for prepping. That's the type of mentality that people have. It's simple things, soap, something you get for like $1. Keeping yourself sanitary when you don't have access to a sewer system or a good water system, So a lot of people think that, fire extinguisher is a waste of money. Maybe they're right, maybe fire extinguisher is a waste of money. Maybe it's a waste of time to put together your own first aid kits and acquire those type of items, but, it's up to you. I just have a different perspective, and I'm sure a lot of you guys understand where I'm coming from. Some people comment about my DVDs and Blu-rays, which was really interesting. Now I'm showing 24 and Buffy and X-Men and Rambo or whatever. I still got the OC, and I just switch them around. People comment about Felicity. It's interesting. People comment about the weirdest things. It seems like a lot of comments come from like the DVDs in the background. I just don't quite understand that, but anyway. Now somebody says that, well, the steering wheel you have, that Hello Kitty steering wheel plus Felicity DVDs or whatever, it all adds up. It all adds up to what? What really? What is the Bourne trilogy on Blu-ray and True Blood and Rambo Blu-ray set and Nikita and Felicity and Angel? What does that add up to? Exactly. It just means I have good taste. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, security. Some people had some questions about that. Somebody brought up an issue of an article talking about America's most miserable jobs, security. You guys know I bought this belt for my job. Well, you guys have seen the belt before. You guys know I also carry a Glock 21. I'm actually going to get another one pretty soon. Pretty excited about that. Very excited about that. Another one with another nice sights. Why does Glock even bother with their standard sights? It looks stupid in the back, rear sights. But anyway, I don't want to get into all that. As far as a job being miserable for a lot of people, I think somebody said it best when they said that it's really an in-between type of job. What you do in between getting a better paying job. It varies. Companies, it varies from company to company. You know, it varies from. You could be at a company that's paying you $13 an hour, or you can be at a company that's paying you $8 or $9 an hour. You know, I just happen to be in the latter, but each company has their own different policies. As far as the security, you know, some people they actually carry some pretty serious hardware in the back of their vehicles. You know, I haven't gotten to the point where I'm carrying an AK yet. You know, because I am working arms sites. But as you guys know, I have put some Kevlar right in here in this vest. Got something back here. I want a little bit. I need to get some plates, basically. I need to get some plates, but so to fold it over, soft armor in the front. Now, I guess it's better than nothing, and I definitely appreciate the gift from Ellery. You know, I bought this on my own, but he helped me get some of the armor. So yeah, I'm doing what I can. And I guess I could get an internal vest, but you know, nobody pays for that. Like everything that you see most security guards wearing, they pay for pretty much all of that. So just a little clue, just to clue people in on that little detail right there. Okay, what else is on my mind? I'm actually going to get a gas mask pretty soon, an American-made gas mask, and not some cheapo type of gas mask. Something that I'm fairly excited about. I'm pretty sure it's going to work, but I'm going to test it out anyway. And when I get it, I'll show you guys. I'm going to be pretty excited about that. What else is going on with me? You know, I'm just learning that, you know, prepping it's just an evolution. You know, you never get satisfied. You never get to the point where you're like, okay, I don't do anything anymore. I mean, you get to the point where you're like, okay, I covered my bases, but you know, you're always learning something new. You're always going into a different area and actually finding out that you didn't know about this and that, and you're discovering new ways of improving this and that. So for me, I think this is like the best type of move for me. You know, prepping has just been really good for me. You know, obviously I'm spending less money on Blu-rays and more money on practical things. And let's be frank, some of the guns I buy is not really necessary for prepping, but I don't regret buying the AKs. I love the format. And speaking of which, you know, you want to have that option. I'm gonna leave it at that. You want to have that option. Not looking for no trouble, but you want to have that option. Speaking of prepping, also bug out bags. I'm gonna call it my get home bag. I'm gonna change my setup here, and a lot of you guys know. Oh, this is my toolbox. Oh boy. This thing is pretty big, okay? I bet a lot of you couldn't lift it with one arm, but anyway, I'll just play with you guys. I can barely lift it with one arm. But yeah, I'm thinking about going a different path, you know, maybe something a little bit lighter. Scott brought up a pretty good point that, you know, this might not be the best thing for a bug out bag. It'll be fine for a hiking, but if I had to get somewhere really quick, really fast, this would definitely slow me down. So now I'm looking for the main issue is the tent. I'm probably gonna have to ditch a tent and focus instead of maybe on a tarp and just maybe some type of mummy pack, some kind of type of mummy bag, and that's gonna have to be my tent or so, just to really cut down on a lot of the weight of the pack itself, you know. But I'm debating whether I should throw the mask in there with the pack, but you know, it's just something I've been thinking about. So when I do design or when I do put it all together, the new pack is going to be right in my van. I'm going to show you guys, and you'll be able to critique it. So these are some of the things that I'm up to. Yes, I'm still planning on doing some things to Detroit, making some trips to Detroit. I'll show some of that stuff on my second channel, DimCat2. I have a Twitter, I have Facebook. You can find me there as well. Alright guys, share your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And don't forget, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. It's an old pack, but it's actually pretty sturdy. You guys know that by now. Well, one of the things I'm going to do is buy a whole lot of ammunition before the election. because